Hey guys, it's Greg from East Coast Dies, and today I've got a really cool tutorial for you. Really excited about it. I've been planning this for forever. I mean, forever, a very long time ago, and never got around to it for some reason. And really excited to bring it to you guys today. So what we have today is a make your own rubber butt end tutorial. So this is sweet. This is something I've done before and seen before as well. I did not come up with this idea. I have to give, I believe, all credit to Max McCool, a guy who's been in the lacrosse customization game for a long time, ever since E-Lacrosse. Also writes for Lacrosse Playground often. If you guys have seen any of his stuff, Max McCool does awesome dies, awesome strings, has always been at the forefront experimenting with customization of lacrosse equipment. So all credit for this goes to him. I saw his picture tutorial a long time ago, and I think it's a really cool idea, so I'm going to take his idea and try and tell you guys about it so you can do it as well. So the basic premise of what we're making here is a custom rubber butt end. So you guys all have rubber butt ends. They come on your shafts. Here's a Warrior one. They look like this. They make them in different shapes and sizes and colors, and you slip them on, and it helps keep your hand down. It is now an NCAA rule that you must have a rubber butt end, not just that the bottom is covered, but that you must have a rubber butt end. So I'm not sure, I can't tell you 100% that these rubber butt ends that we make are going to qualify for that rule, but I believe that they do. So what we're going to be making is a custom rubber butt end. So here we have one that I made using tape and the liquid rubber. And so what I did was just made a mold how I want, a little bit bigger on the bottom, that's about a ½ inch up from the very bottom, and then another little lip so that my hand has something to slide down. My pinky can grip right in the gap there, and it gives you a really great grip. It is literally attached to the shaft so that it's not going to slip off ever. I don't need any more tape. This is it. Rubber has great grip, especially in poor weather. So it really is a cool solution. I hope a lot of you guys do this. So you can remove them. It's a little tricky, but they do come off. You can take an X-Acto blade and slice it off, so it will come off, but it's a little tougher to remove than a regular butt end. So if you're young or people of all ages, make sure you get with a parent before you do this project. Don't want anyone to get hurt or anything like that. So let's get into what you need to execute this project. So you're going to need a shaft. Here I've got a STX CU31 from my days of playing when I was very young. I mean, this was high school for me. So old STX shaft, very cool shaft. So I'm gonna stick a rubber butt end on the bottom of this one. You also need tape, obviously. I've got orange and red ECD grip tape, but any tape works perfectly fine. But I prefer that you guys use ECD grip tape because it looks awesome. Although it will be covered with rubber, so it doesn't really matter. And finally, and the most important element, you need Plastidip multi-purpose rubber coating. You can find this at Home Depot and Lowe's. Those are the two main places. It comes in a canister like this. It's not too expensive. So this is what you're gonna need. Plastidip liquid or multi-purpose rubber coating. And this is what we're gonna make our butt end out of. So those are the things that you need to execute this tutorial. It's pretty simple. Definitely get with a parent, and when you're using this Plastidip, you want to do it in a well-ventilated area or with a respirator mask on, or whatever they call them, a dust mask, any kind of something, so you're not inhaling this stuff directly. Do it in a wide open, well-ventilated area. Don't want anyone to pass out from this stuff. So that is what you need: shaft, tape, Plastidip, clean area to do it. Maybe put some paper down, some newspaper down, so you don't drip rubber all over your parents' stuff. So now we'll get into how you're going to do this. Alright, so first things first is you need to cover the area you're going to dip in the rubber with tape. So you're just going to do a thin layer of tape. Also, actually first, before you do that, you need to cover the bottom with something. You can use a quarter, a bottle cap, but I'm just going to put a little bit of tape over it. So I'm going to take a little bit of tape, tear off a little piece just like that, cover the bottom going one way and press it down. Doesn't have to be perfect. And take the same amount of tape and cover the bottom going the other way, and just press it down and make sure it's all flat on the edges. We're actually going to do one more here just to make sure it's nice and strong there on the bottom. Don't want it popping through. So there we go. So we've got the bottom covered up with a layer of tape. So now what we're going to do is cover the area that we're going to cover in rubber with tape, swirling it around in a candy cane fashion, keeping it as flat as humanly possible. So I'm probably just going to do that much, a little bit bigger than normal butt end, just to give me a little extra grip. So start off at the bottom of the shaft, it'll be at the top when you're doing it. Wrap it real nice and tight and just go on a slight angle, super tight on the wrap, keeping it as flat as possible. And a good candy cane tape job takes some practice to get it right. Take it up a little bit because I don't want it that high. And when you're done, just do a little bit of wrap going back the other way. And there you have it. So there is the base for my butt end. The rubber is going to cover this entire tape portion. I just have a really nice flat tape portion. This is going to give the rubber something to adhere to other than the shaft, so it sticks real nice. So now we get into the fun part, and this is creating the pattern of your butt end, where you want some big parts to be, where you want your grip, you know, how much grip you want. So what I'm going to do is, just like on my other one, I'm going to do one larger roll about a ½ inch up from the bottom, and then one little bit smaller roll about another ½ inch from that to give my fingers some grooves. That you can do, you know, as many rolls as you want, as big of a roll you want. I would try and avoid doing it really big because I don't think the rubber's going to stick to it. It's not going to fill in all the crevices that well, but you can do a pretty moderate size one. So what I do is, on my tape, just tear down a little portion so that I'm using a less wide tape area, and it takes a little while. Just gotta go over it until you have it built up as high as possible. So try and keep this as straight as possible when you're applying it, so that you have a nice flat round edge. So I'm gonna apply my roll at the bottom here. Alright, so there we've got my bottom knob. Just gonna flatten a little bit and run my fingers around the top just to get that tape a little bit more in line on both sides. And there you have it. There's knob number one. So it's going to get thicker once you lay rubber on it. We're going to do 2 coats. So if it's not quite as big as you like, you're going to want to make the tape a little smaller than you'd like, so that you have, so once you coat it with rubber, it's not too huge. So now I'm going to do one slightly smaller one, a little bit higher up, so I have that groove to put my fingers between, and then we'll be ready to coat it in rubber. So there you have it, both of my little rolls ready to be coated in rubber. So I've got the whole thing covered in tape, the rolls that I want to be a little bit elevated to give me extra grip, and now we're ready to coat it in the Plasti Dip. Alright, so we've got the Plasti Dip and my shaft here. You can see the detail on what I did here with my ridges and the bottom and the tape. So open up your can of Plasti Dip. If you keep it sealed, it should stay good for a while and won't congeal. You can keep reusing it. This is a couple days, so like I said, make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area, or wear proper equipment to work with this kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take a shaft and dip it in. So the key here is to go very, very slowly. You want to do this as slow as possible, and that's just going to ensure that it coats better. So that is really a key here, so make sure you guys go as slow as you possibly can. Alright, so we're going to start dipping it, so make sure you go straight in, and again, as slow as possible. So the instructions say to go about 1 inch every 5 seconds, but actually go slower than that. So go really slow in, letting the rubber go into all the grooves of the shaft and all the grooves of the tape and the ridges you made. So when you get to the top, make sure you have the shaft going in perfectly straight, so that your line is perfectly straight on the shaft. And I like to go in literally just right to where the tape stops. So right to where the tape just barely sinks under the rubber and I can't see any tape anymore. So you're gonna then remove the shaft just as slowly as you dipped it in, and that's gonna make sure it coats really nicely. Alright, so there it's all done, and now what I like to do is take it over a piece of paper, put it on kind of an angle, and just spin it. So this is going to remove some of the extra off the end, which you can cut off at the end if it's too much, and it's going to kind of even out the coat a little bit. So you can see it did work nicely, got those nice ridges, and it's looking good. So if you just spin it here for a couple seconds and even out the coat, get the extra off the bottom, you're going to be looking good. So now you're going to need a place to dry it. You're going to want to hang it straight up and have it dripping over something like newspaper so that it doesn't drip. It shouldn't drip anymore after this, but it might. You just want to be safe and not ruin anything. So I've got mine with a butt end with a string loop attached, and then over here in my office I've got set up just a little hook that's going to hang on. Oops, gotta go up a level on that. Just a little hook that's going to hang on and dangle there over that paper. So we're actually going to do a second coat. So you're going to wait about 5 minutes and then do your second coat. Alright guys, it's been about 5 minutes. Grabbing my shaft here, you can see it's looking pretty good. You know, has some things you can cut off when you're done, but it looks good. So we're going to do another coat here real quick. We're just going to do the same exact process. Alright, then we're going to do the same thing again, where we roll the shaft around and get some of that extra rubber off and even it out a little bit. Alright, then we're going to hang it back up where we had it before. And this time, you're literally going to let it dry for 24 hours. The can recommends 4, but I think it's best you don't want to touch it before it's done or else you're going to ruin it. So it's best to let it dry for 24 hours overnight, or 12 hours, you know, a long time. Just leave it overnight. Alright guys, so we got the shaft here drying behind me. Again, 24 hours or 12 hours is best to let it dry so it's dry completely. And when you're done, you'll have a butt end ready to go. So let me know if you guys do this tutorial, if you guys have done it before. I'd love to hear some feedback on how it went. Your first one may not turn out perfect, I'm not going to lie to you. This is probably my third one this week, just practicing to make sure I had the procedure right so I could try and get you guys as close as possible to a perfect butt end. So thanks for watching guys. Make sure to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, let me know in the comments if you have any other cool things I should try and do like this, and have a great day.